right, supervisors, if you could please take your seats. I would like to call the April 2022 meeting of the Manitowoc County Board to order. Our first order of business is going to be invocation. I have the honor of doing the invocation, so if you could please rise. Thank you, Father, thank you for every seat that has been filled here today. For each mind and heart that fills the presence of this room, we thank you. Only you truly know what we are setting out to accomplish today. We have an idea, a vision, hints, and daily instructions. We have talents, abilities, and time to work. However, only you can see in perfect detail the end of every beginning, every project, every meeting, every season, and every life. Nothing is ever in vain, for even mistakes and missteps are used for good. Your righteousness transcends all our efforts and understanding. Forgive us for our pride, the pride that puffs up and the pride that threatens to unqualify us. Strengthen our confidence in you who have made us to be. Set us free from comparison in order to work together efficiently. Bless this meeting today, all those present, as well as the lives of those we will encounter afterward when we go forward from this place. In Jesus' name, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, roll call is going around. We have, how many members present?
Two have to punch in yet.
21.
So we have
20 members.
Bonnie has
Oh,
to punch in.
Supervisor Shimalunas.
And then we'll
She's working on it. All right, we have 21 members present. Supervisors Linsmeyer, Sikowitz, Bauman, and Vogt are excused. We need to do consideration and correction, if any, to the minutes of our April 19th meeting. If there are no corrections, I would look for a motion to approve the minutes. Supervisor Benke and Supervisor Niles for the second. Discussion on this. All right, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? It is unanimous. Any additions or deletions to the agenda? I believe the clerk has one addition.
The addition to the agenda, under Roman numeral number 12, appointments by county executive, letter E, human services, second appointment of Donna Burns has been added to the agenda.
All right, thank you. We need a motion to approve the agenda as amended. Supervisor Marsh and Supervisor Zimmer. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you. Now we have reports of county supervisors, offices, and department directors. We have a few proclamations. So if Supervisor, County Executive Zigabar, you'd like to join me at the podium. Karen Zahn and anyone from Human Services receiving our first proclamation. All right, so this is a proclamation declaring May 2022 Foster Care Month. Whereas the family serving as the primary source of love, identity, and self-esteem and support is the very foundation of our communities and our state. And whereas in Manitowoc County, there are 178 children and youth in out-of-home care being provided with a safe, secure, and stable home with the compassion and nurture of a foster family. And whereas there are 42 licensed foster and 9 licensed relative families who have opened their homes and hearts and offer to help the children whose families are in crisis, play a vital role helping children and families heal and reconnect and launching children into successful adulthood. And whereas dedicated foster families frequently adopt foster children, resulting in a greater need for more foster families. And whereas there are numerous individuals, public and private organizations, who work to increase public awareness of the needs of children in and leaving foster care, as well as the enduring and valuable contribution of foster parents and relative providers. And the foster care system is only as good as those who choose to be a part of it. Now, therefore, we, Bob Ziegelbauer, Manitowoc County Executive, and Tyler Martell, Manitowoc County Board Chair, along with the Manitowoc County Board of Supervisors, hereby proclaim the month of May 2022 as Foster Care Month in Manitowoc County, and urge all citizens to change a lifetime by sharing their hearts, opening their homes, and offering to help children in foster care, foster parents, relative providers, and the child welfare professional staff working with them during this month and throughout the year.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you to Chairperson Martell for inviting us here tonight to accept the Foster Care Proclamation. My name is Karen Zahn, and I am the Foster Care Coordinator for Manitowoc County Human Services. I brought along with me our foster parents, Jessica and Alan Fisher, who are going to speak right after me, so I won't take too much time. My co-partner, Emily Cortens, who is our Kinship Care Coordinator, our Supervisor, Christy Torreson, and you all know Bob. Each May, we use Foster Care Month as a time first and foremost to thank all of our foster parents, our relative providers, and other caregivers. We will be holding our annual appreciation event next Monday, May 2nd, in which we will first plant pinwheels representing the total number of children and youth that are placed in out-of-home care. This year, that number has risen to 178. These children are placed in Manitowoc County foster homes, out-of-county foster homes, group homes, court-ordered kinship placements, and non-relative placements. Currently, Manitowoc County has just under 50 licensed homes, and many of these homes have reached their capacity. In addition to celebrating our current providers, we will also be recruiting during May for additional foster homes. We need additional foster homes for children and youth of all ages, but we especially need homes for our older youth and those children that are over age 10. Another great need that we have is for homes with a stay-at-home parent. We are all feeling the effects of the daycare shortage, and foster care is no different. Many of our foster parents work. We need more foster parents who are able to be at home and to take placement of a non-school age child. Part of our recruitment efforts during the month of May will be placing lawn signs throughout the county. We brought some of those signs here with us tonight in hopes that you would take them home and place them in front of your home. They're yellow and black signs in the back of the room, as well as red and white signs, and there is a sign-out sheet located there. If you could sign your name and address. If you take a sign, we would be happy to retrieve it at the end of May. So we typically keep them up for the month. At the end of May, you could drop them off at the Human Services Department, or if your address is listed, we would be happy to pick them up. Thank you in advance for considering helping us. So without further ado, I would like to introduce to you Alan and Jessica Fisher. The Fishers have been licensed with Manitowoc County Human Services since July of 2019. Since licensing, they have had 7 different placements from 5 different families. They have been a constant support to these families and have worked in collaboration with Human Services staff to support permanency and reunification. Alan and Jessica.
Thank you, Karen. So we first learned about foster care through coworkers. Alan had a coworker that was doing respite on weekends through the foster care program, and I had a coworker that was a foster mom. We had planned to become involved in foster care after we had gotten married. Fast forward 2 years later, and we finally made the call to Karen to begin the process. We had so many emotions running through us. Excited for all the kiddos we would be able to love and support when they need us most. Fear of the possibility of having to let go when the time came. Frustration at why children need to go through what they do. And regret of why we didn't do this sooner. But all of these emotions have only made us stronger from the beginning, and there isn't anything we would change. Having a safe, healthy, loving home to children in need brings joy to our hearts. We have been licensed foster parents for almost 3 years. During these past 3 years, we have had 7 kiddos that we have fostered, which two of them are still currently living with us. And we will be adding 1 more next week. The kiddos we have fostered live with us anywhere from 4 months to 9 months, and the longest has been the 2 kiddos we have now, nearing 2 years for one of them and 1 year for the other. The kiddos that have left our home have all been reunified with birth parents or relatives. Having a good communication-related relationship with the birth parents is so healthy for the kiddos. We have had the privilege of getting to see one of our birth parents work hard to get her children back, and the relief that she felt that her kids were in great hands let her focus on the things that she needed to do to reach reunification. We have continued fostering because we feel that children in need long for a relationship and safe person in their lives. There is such a need for foster families. We are able to care for the kiddos and enjoy every moment, getting to learn their story and adding to it. When we were faced with infertility, it gave us peace of mind that we were still able to be parents and be able to guide and nurture children in need. We have learned new skills along the way, along with a whole new level of flexibility. All of the children that we have had have left us with great memories that we will forever be grateful for. 2 of the kiddos we still have contact with and are able to see how they are growing and learning every day. Some of the things that we enjoy doing with the kids is camping. We love to take them camping and teach them about nature, fishing, and some basic life skills. Having the outdoors to breathe easy and relax has been a favorite of the children in our home. Another thing that we enjoy doing is watching them in sports. Having someone cheering them on, and maybe embarrassing them at times, is so rewarding as they smile your way after they make that basket or hit the ball hard. One of my favorite memories is when we decided it was a great idea to take 3 kiddos, a 4-year-old and 2 2-year-olds camping. That was a trip, but besides all the chaos, it was joy that filled our hearts to see those 3 kiddos laugh and run around with limited boundaries, room to let free, and enjoying every minute, every learning curve, and every mud puddle. It was a symbol that we were doing something right.
One thing that helps keep the craziness in foster care manageable is the staff at Human Services. We have gotten to know so many great people that we are able to call upon when in need of a question or help. The social workers do a great job of keeping the foster parents in the loop. They really look out for the best of the children and help lead foster families in the right direction when needed extra support. Throughout the years, we have had the opportunity to work with other service programs through Human Services. There are numerous resources available to us when we or our foster kiddos need it. Being a foster parent has made a great impact on our lives, 1 children at a time, or 3. We look forward to continue care for these children. Jess keeps joking that we need to add on to our house with more rooms. We will continue to provide a safe, healthy, loving home for many years to come. Thank you.
Of course, the need for safe foster homes in our community cannot be overstated. Thank you so much for what you're doing for these kids and for our community. Next, we'll be recognizing Heartorama for 50 years of volunteer service. Supervisor Hanson, Supervisor Hacker, and Supervisor Jarrell. Are we getting a show tonight? A proclamation honoring Heartorama for 50 years of volunteer service. Whereas Heartorama was created in 1971 in Manitowoc by a group of special friends to benefit the American Heart Association of Wisconsin. And whereas the first year required giving tickets away in taverns at 2 a.m. to amass an audience for one weekend performance that raised $1,300. And whereas more than 200 volunteer actors, directors, writers, stage crew, musicians, lighting technicians, vendors, and others contributed thousands of hours each year to produce Heartorama, bringing this evening of parody and slapstick entertainment to our area for a most worthwhile contribution in the fight against heart disease. And whereas, along with the numerous volunteers, many local businesses have supported Heartorama by providing supplies supplies used behind the scenes, and by donating or by selling items at cost such as food, refreshments, candy, flowers, jewelry, etc. And whereas Heartorama has entertained 105,490 area residents over the 50 years of fundraising. And whereas Heartorama stands alone as a fundraiser by auctioning autographed toilet seats, which to date has raised over $1 million, or $100,000, I'm sorry, maybe in the next 50 years. And the owners of those toilet seats proudly display them in area businesses. And whereas funds from Heartorama have provided area schools, churches, law enforcement agencies, fire departments, nonprofit organizations, public buildings, and many more with automated external defibrillators at no cost. And whereas Heartorama has reached the $2.9 million mark since beginning in 1971 to help in the battle against heart disease. And whereas after 50 years in the Lakeshore, Heartorama is returning after a 2-year pandemic pause to bring back the wonderful entertainment enjoyed by many. And now, therefore, we, Manitowoc County Executive Bob Ziegelbauer and Manitowoc County Board Chair Tyler Martell, along with the Manitowoc County Board of Supervisors, hereby commend Heartorama on 50 years of volunteer service. Thank you. Would you like to say anything?
Thank you. Rick Giroux has been in the show, so I invited him to come up also. Rick and his lovely wife, Chris. Chris was a producer for many years. Paul Hacker is kind of a rookie. He's only been around a couple of years. 7. Oh, well. The most important thing about this organization, it was a group of 4 friends that got together, 4 couples that got together and decided they weren't just going to give out stickers and raise $100 a year for a cause. They wanted to do something bigger. So the Shermocks and the Drams and the Sturzels and the Brants that were just people from Manitowoc got together and decided to do something good for the area. And over the last 50 years, that spirit has raised $2.9 million. We're hoping we get to $3 million this year. And if you haven't been there, you probably won't believe it when you come, but it's worth the $20 for the ticket. Come and have a good time. We're Thursday, Friday, Saturday of this week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday of next week at the Community House in Two Rivers. It's a good time, and it really shows you the spirit of the Lakeshore. Thank you.
All right, next we have a proclamation commemorating the life and service of Marie B. Kolbeck. If she has any family in the audience that would like to come up, you are welcome. Whereas Marie B. Kolbeck being born on March 3rd, 1933, was raised in the town of Gibson, attended local schools, and was a mother, wife, grandmother, business owner, and assessor, and she passed away on January 23rd, 2022. And whereas Marie B. Kolbeck was active in county government, during her 8 terms on the county board, she served on the Judiciary and Law Enforcement Committee, Finance and Budget Committee, Area Board of Vocational, Technical, and Adult Education, District 2, Institution Committee, Manitowoc County Expo Incorporated Liaison Members, Chairpersons Advisory Committee, Manitowoc Community Human Services Board, and Committee Natural Resources and Education Committee, Manitowoc County Aging Unit, Expo Incorporated Executive Board, Healthcare Center Committee, Board of Health, Glacier Land Resource Conservation and Development Council, and VTAE District 2 Farm Committee. And whereas Marie B. Kolbeck, along with her husband of nearly 72 years, Herbert, owned and operated Colbeck's Riverview Inn in Reefs Mills for close to 35 years. She was an assessor for the town of Kasuth and Manitowoc Rapids, a 4-H leader, served on the Manitowoc County Expo Board, Wisconsin Nursing Board, and the Wisconsin Auctioneering Board for numerous years. And whereas Marie B. Kolbeck was devoted to her family and enjoyed baking, crocheting, and family activities, she was a past member of St. Augustine Catholic Church in Reefs Mills and a current member of St. Anne's Catholic Church in Francis Creek. And whereas Marie B. Kolbeck was a leader who served the citizens of Manitowoc County in many capacities and contributed countless hours to improve the quality of life for all. Now, therefore, we, Bob Ziegelbauer, County Executive, and Tyler Martell, Manitowoc County Board Chair, along with the Manitowoc County Board of Supervisors, hereby commemorate the life and service of Marie B. Kolbeck and express their condolences to the Kolbeck family.
Thank you. This is a little weird. I've never kind of been here or done this before, but thank you. It means a lot to know that Manitowoc County really cared about my grandma, because my grandma really cared about the whole county, really. And as it was just said, she served a lot of people. She did a lot of things. And at times, my grandma was very strong in her opinions. And if you knew her, she was very, very strong in her opinions. However, my grandma only did that out of love, because she always wanted to make change and hope it was the right change and that she was doing always the right thing, because she cared so much and loved so many people. And there's probably numerous people in here that I don't even know that she loved and still loves right now and is watching down on them. So I just want to say thank you, and this really does mean a lot as we continue on, but thank you again, because this does mean a lot. And we hope too that you all remember her as she was, which was a strong leader and someone who cared about everyone, and hope that you do the same and reach out and try to make the best you can for everyone else. Thank you.
Next, we have a proclamation commemorating the life and service of David E. Gauger. If he has any family present, and they'd be willing to join me. David E. Gauger, being born on January 22nd, 1957, was a graduate of Lincoln High School with the class of 1975, an ASE certified master automobile technician employed with Yonda Motors, First Chrysler in Manitowoc, and Default Auto Salvage, and he passed away on January 25th, 2022. And whereas David E. Gauger was active in county government, during his time on the county board, he was the Sergeant at Arms, served on the Public Safety Committee, Ice Center Liaison Board, Public Works Committee, Leicester Public Library Board of Trustees, Manitowoc County Library Advisory Committee, Expo Ice Center Board, Land Conservation Committee and Natural Resources Education Committee, and Silver Lake Inland Lake Protection Rehabilitation District Board. Whereas David E. Gauger was a devoted husband, father, and grandfather who loved helping everyone and spending time with family and friends. He was an avid race car aficionado since age 10, raced at many local tracks, and enjoyed working and building race cars. Whereas David E. Gauger was a leader who served the citizens of Manitowoc County in many capacities and contributed countless hours to improve the quality of life for all. Now, therefore, we, Bob Ziegelbauer, County Executive, and Tyler Martell, Manitowoc County Board Chair, along with the Manitowoc County Board of Supervisors, hereby commemorate the life and service of David E. Gauger and express their condolences to the Gauger family. All right, and that will bring us to public comment. Are there any members of the public who would wish to speak and address the board? Are there any members of the public looking to speak? Yes, Ms. Yost. Have about 3 minutes.
Chip Yost, Centerville. For the past 5 or more years, I have advocated for a county-wide half-cent on a dollar spent sales tax as the most fiscally conservative way to fund our county operations while also providing tax relief to our 36,000 plus property tax payers. I emphasize to you that this is not a new tax. It is a shift in how the county gets necessary revenue from borrowing millions into our future to paying as we go. When we pay a little bit more today in a half cent on a dollar spent, we can borrow much less to pay for our ongoing county operations. As County Executive Ziegelbauer wrote, quoting, "Property tax owners will benefit the most because state law dictates that the sales tax revenue be applied to projects funded by property taxes." According to our county's annual reports, nicknamed the CAFRs, since Ziegelbauer took office in 2006, the amount Manitowoc County has paid in principal interest, fees, and refinancing is $71 million. As a writing candidate for the county executive, I am proud to thank the 140 residents who voted for me. That's a nucleus of supporters who want to move from borrowing millions into the future to funding current county operations as we go, and who also will benefit from property tax relief. Thank you. Truth is our shared value as we depend on each other's words to guide our actions. And so it was disappointing to read the March 31st, 2022 weekly print newspaper Valder's Journal article titled Ziegelbauer Opposed by Writing. It contained numerous inaccuracies and misstatements. I'll only address 3 here. Perhaps the most alarming was
Jost, you have about 30 seconds.
Thank you. Was Ziegelbauer's statement about our county's bond rating, quoting him as unimportant. I don't care about the bond rating. It's a medium grade. We don't borrow money anyway. I'm repeating Ziegelbauer's statement for emphasis. We don't borrow money anyway. Who is he misleading? Not me. You, our elected legislators, our county's residents. Second in the article, refuting my policy position on his claimed, quote, low taxes, low debt, Ziegelbauer said, quoting again, Yost is spreading disinformation. That's crazy. He said, we are paying off more than we borrow. It's a surplus. Debt is debt. Reducing debt is not a surplus. Who is he misleading? Not me.
Yost, if you could wrap up your comments soon, please.
I'm just about done. Not me. You, our elected legislators, our county residents. Third, Ziegelbauer said the county does not need a sales tax. We have held the line on taxes for 16 years. We do need another revenue source from We do not need another revenue source from taxpayers. Ziegelbauer holding the line on taxes by liquidating all of the county's property assets while our county paid $71 million in principal, interest, fees, and refinancings to bondholders, exporting our tax dollars out of county. Who is he misleading? Not me. You, our elected legislators, our county's residents. And so I continue to advocate for a half-cent on a dollar spent countywide sales tax as, quoting, as the borrower is slave to the lender, Proverbs 22:17. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Yost. Are there any other members of the public who would like to speak? Any of the other members of the public who would like to speak? For the third and final time, is there anybody who would like to speak? Seeing none, I will close public input. Next on the agenda, we have communications. Those have been provided to you. We have no unfinished business from our last meeting, so that will take us into appointments by the chairperson. You all should have received a list of the committee appointments that I have made. Okay, so I will be looking for a motion to approve those. I'll take Supervisor Bry, seconded by Supervisor Heller. Any discussion on those? All right, seeing none, all those in favor of the committee appointment signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Unanimous? Okay. All right, and then we also have appointments by County Executive Ziegelbauer. Those are also on the the document provided to you on the left side. If you want to take a moment to review those. Otherwise, I'd be looking for a motion to approve those appointments as well. Supervisor Mank, seconded by Supervisor Banky. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. We do have some citizen appointments by the county executive. First is to the Board of Adjustment. It's to appoint one member to fill a vacancy for the remainder of the term expiring July 2024. The recommendation is Bonnie Tim. I'd be looking for a motion to approve that appointment. Supervisor Engelbrecht, seconded by Supervisor Niles. Discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. We also have a member for the Board of Health. The recommendation is to appoint Annette Kaminsky to fill a vacancy for the remainder of the term expiring April 2024. I'll be looking for a motion to approve that appointment. Supervisor Metzger, seconded by Supervisor Mank. Discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? It is unanimous. We also have an appointment to the Expo Ice Center Board. The recommendation is Nancy Newberg to fill a vacancy for the remainder of the term expiring December 31st, 2024. I'll be looking for a motion. Supervisor Benke, seconded by Supervisor Niles. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. We have two appointments to the Human Services Board. The recommendation are Lori Burke to continue on the board and Donna Burns to succeed Jack Nassep for a 3-year term expiring April of 2025. I'll be looking for a motion to approve those. Supervisor Shimalunas, seconded by Supervisor Zimmer. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. We have an appointment for the Joint Dispatch Board. The recommendation is to appoint Josh Straddle for a 2-year term expiring April of 2024. Motion by Supervisor Falkowski, seconded by Supervisor Hanson. Any discussion? All those in favor of the appointment signify by saying aye. 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 Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. And last but not least, we have a member for the Transportation Coordinating Committee. The recommendation is for Cindy Nealis to fill a vacancy for the remainder of the term expiring April 2024. I will accept a motion. Supervisor Weiss, seconded by Supervisor Niles. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? That is carried unanimously. Next, that takes us to committee reports. Aging and Disability Board. What do we have on that? Supervisor Wagner, do you have a committee report for us?
Yeah. The ADRC Board will meet May 24th in Manitowoc County at 10 o'clock and in this building. That's all I have on the ADRC. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Wagner. Next, we have Board of Health, Supervisor Metzger.
We'll meet the second Thursday of May. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Metzger. Criminal Justice Coordinating Council, Supervisor Falkowski.
I have no report this month. The next CJC meeting is scheduled for June 1st. Thank you.
Thank you for that report. Next, we have Executive Committee. The Executive Committee met last Thursday to discuss the committee appointments. I deeply appreciate the guidance, experienced guidance of Supervisor Benke in and Supervisor Droll and all of the other board members who attended, who gave their suggestions and input on our committee appointments. I hope you enjoy serving on your committees for the next 2 years. I know you're all going to do great work. Right now, there are no other executive committee meetings planned, but I will keep you posted. Next, we have Expo Ice Center Board. Supervisor Benke, would you be able to give that report? Thank you.
What a proclamation for Marie Kolbeck. I had the privilege of working with her on the fair board and also in the town aspect. With what a resume. I mean, a woman of service to our county, just amazing, and really missed. Expo, we met April 6th, and a number of things we discussed. We now have a Facebook page that we are trying to get our social media presence out within the county, talking about some of those rules that we need to abide by, especially with some negative comments that we all get in social media, and working through some of those things. The beer and soda vendors meet. The price of the beer at the fair, we have no control over. The vendors do all of that. They pick the beer. They price the cups, they price the beer, they price the soda, they do all of that. So if you're not happy with the price of your beverage at the fair, I didn't do it. So we also talked about Rummage-A-Rama. We're going to be, it's our flea market type of rummage sale that we have. We have about 3 or 4 of those a year. We're going to do some evaluation as to the income and expense on that and deciding whether we're going to follow through with that next year. And that concludes my report, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you for that report. I've noticed the Expo being more active on Facebook for the county fair. I know I speak for all of us that we're all very excited for this year's county fair. Next we have Finance Committee, Supervisor Hanson.
Finance meeting meets on the second Monday of every month at 4:30 at the Executive Office, Administration Office, I should say, on South 9th. However, in May, we're meeting on the third Monday because JJ is out of town on a well-deserved vacation. We'll meet at 4:30, and then the committee will discuss if that's a good time or if we want to move it to make it easier for people to get there. So everybody is welcome at our meetings, again, usually on the second Monday of the month, but we will meet on the 16th in May. Thank you.
Thank you for the report. Next, we go to Highway. Vice Chair Gerald will be giving the report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Highway Committee met April 12th. We approved a driveway access for Nelson Truck Lines. We approved 2 hangar subleases at the airport. We approved the airport swap meet fly-in, which will happen on June 4th with a rain date of June 5th. We approved an asphalt bid for County Trunk Highway R to Northeast Asphalt. We approved an asphalt milling bid. We approved the bids for the Colden Place recycling for County Trunk Highway V. We reviewed and discussed a spreadsheet regarding funding for the future. We reviewed and discussed a new interactive map that we got from Bay Lakes. We reviewed and discussed the overtime report, and we paid the vouchers. And the next meeting date is May 10th, and that concludes my report, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Supervisor Gerald. Next, we have Human Services Board. I've been informed there is no report, but we do have a resolution that we would like to bring forward, Resolution 2022/2023-2, which will designate Human Services Department the Elder Abuse Reporting Agency. Supervisor Bry, motion to approve, seconded by Supervisor Marsh. Any discussion? Okay. All right, if there is no discussion, then the clerk will conduct the vote. All right, motion passes 21-0. Thank you. Now we have the Land Conservation Committee and UW Extension, Education, and Agriculture Committees. Supervisor Wagner is the chair.
I'm sorry. Thank you, Chairman Martell. Gonna take me a while, I tell you. The next meeting of Land Conservation Committee will be May 19th at 4:45 at the County Office Complex on Expo Drive. And then the UW Extension, Education, Agricultural Committee meeting will be June 16th at 4:45, also at the County Office Complex. That's the end of my report.
Supervisor Wagner, and if you think it's going to take you a little bit of time to get used to it, it's going to take me a little time to get used to it too, so as long as we have an understanding. Next, we have Personnel Committee. Supervisor Marsh is the chair. Oh, Supervisor Benke will be giving the report.
Personnel met on April 5th. We were introduced to our new personnel coordinator, was introduced to the committee. We then talked about restructuring the health department position, which we will be voting on later, into a full-time sanitarian position. We talked with the sheriff about the department recruitment, was also discussed. A lot of the things that's happening out in the private sector, we're having to deal with in personnel as well, and we've always been challenged with the sheriff's deputies and the jail people getting those positions filled, and we will continue to struggle with that based on the rising pay structure that's out there. So we are, hats off to the sheriff for doing a good job of communicating with personnel department and working hard to get those positions filled. We do welcome new committee members, Supervisor Heller and Supervisor Niles. Supervisor Heller has a great knowledge of personnel and her years past on the board, and we welcome her to back to the committee as well. Our next meeting will be Tuesday, May 3rd at 4:15 at the Administration Building. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you for the report. Next, we have Planning and Park Commission. Supervisor Falkowski.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Planning and Park Commission meeting was Monday, the 28th. The committee conducted their procedural action to approve the agenda, and including prior minutes, and to hear public comment. On our busy docket that day, we had 5 public hearings for the rezone requests. The first was a Michael Chupney, a parcel change from exclusive ag to general ag. We had discussion about the request criteria for the change and that it had been vetted by the planning staff. Testimony was provided by the principal party at the hearing, and the commissioners' questions were answered to their satisfaction. The town of Gibson's official written support for the rezone and a town's official that was in attendance affirming the support was entered into and filed into the record. The commission voted to pass the rezone request onto the county board. Therefore, I do move to submit ordinance 2022-2023-3, amending the zoning map for Michael Chupney.
For a second, Supervisor Zimmer. Any discussion? All right, then the clerk will conduct the vote.
Supervisors will now vote on the ordinance amending zoning map for Michael Chupney.
Motion carries 21-0. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next hearing was for the estate of Lorraine Kirschma, a parcel change from large estate to small estate and to exclusive ag. We had discussion about the request criteria for the change and also that it was vetted by the planning staff. In addition, the town of Gibson filed official written support for the rezone, and it was entered into the record. A town's official was also in attendance. The commission voted to pass the rezone onto the county board, and therefore I do submit for ordinance number 2022-2023-4, amending the zoning map for the estate of Lorraine Krishma. Sorry.
We have a motion. Is there a second? Supervisor Engelbrecht, any discussion? If not, the clerk will conduct the vote.
Supervisors will now vote on the ordinance amending zoning map for the estate of Lorraine Kirchma.
Motion carries 21-0. Thank you. Supervisor Bukowski.
Our next hearing was for the Leon Plansky parcel exchange from exclusive ag to small estate. We had a discussion about the criteria and for the change, and that it has been vetted by the planning staff. In addition, the town of Two Rivers filed official written support for the rezone, and it was entered into the record. The commission voted to pass on the rezone request onto the county board. Therefore, I so move to submit ordinance number 2022-2023-5, amending the zoning map for Leon Plansky.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? Supervisor Heller, any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, the clerk will conduct the vote.
Supervisors will now vote on the ordinance amending the zoning map for Leon Plansky.
Motion carried 21-0.
Our next hearing was for Kevin and Sherry Schreib. A change in parcel designation from exclusive ag to small estate and to exclusive ag and to also large estate. During the hearing, we considered the criteria for the request and that the planning staff vetted the conditions for the rezone. Determinant factors involve the topographic characteristics as well as a segment of the underground power that was on the property. Testimony was provided by the principal party at the hearing, and a surrounding parcel owner has also made comments. The commissioners' questions were answered to the satisfaction. The town of Manitowoc Rapids and the town board and the town planning committee filed their written support for the rezone, and it was entered into the record. The commission voted to pass the rezone request onto the county board. Therefore, I so move to submit ordinance 2022-2023-6, amending the zoning map for the Schreib parcel.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Supervisor Benke, any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, the clerk will conduct the vote.
Supervisors will now vote on the ordinance amending the zoning map for Kevin and Sherry Schreiber.
Supervisor Hanson, I don't think it registered your vote. Motion carried unanimously 21-0.
The final hearing was postponed from the request of the town of Two Creeks via an email to have the rezone be removed from our agenda. It was the McHugh Brothers Holding LLC. The remaining items to report to you were several variances requests. One was the Leonard Prisno relating to a parcel size designation. We examined the survey documents and the maps, and after discussion, the variance was approved. Another variance request was from Philip and Mary Fox. The parcel size didn't meet the minimum requirements. The commission examined the survey documents and the maps, and after discussion, the variance was also approved. And finally, a variance request from Donald and Deborah Johannick. The review of the documents and the maps, and Mr. Johannick had testified at the commission and had answered any questions of the commissioners. The variance request was approved. Next up, following the protocol to review and discuss sanitation ordinance violations, these were then forwarded on to corporate counsel for enforcement. To wrap up my report, we had a discussion and possible action to permit the Caveman Adventure Run at the Cherney Maribel Caves County Park, and tentatively that date will be June 12th. Our last item to present to the county board for their acceptance is the 2023 Snowmobile Trail Maintenance Resolution. This is an ongoing task that has kept the trails in the county well maintained. For reference, that would be the 248.35 miles of state-funded snowmobile trails in our county. For this action, there is no tax levy. There will be nothing, it will not be impacted, so therefore I so move to submit an acceptance of Resolution 2022-2023-7 for the Snowmobile Trail Aid Program. Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion to accept the resolution. Is there a second? Supervisor Marsh? Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, the clerk will conduct the vote.
Supervisors will now vote on the resolution authorizing 2022-2023 Snowmobile Trail AIDS Program.
Motion carries unanimously 21-0.
And finally, for your consideration, the acceptance of the Snowmobile Bridge Aid Resolution. This will authorize the bridge development to cross the tributary for Mud Creek, which is close to County Trunk W in the Collins Marsh area. Again, this has no tax levy impact. With that, I so move for the acceptance of Resolution 2022-2023-8 for the authorizing the Snowmobile Trail AIDS Bridge development.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Supervisor Zimmer. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, the clerk will conduct the vote.
Supervisors will now vote on the resolution authorizing the 2022-2023 Snowmobile Trail Ends for Bridge Development.
Motion carries unanimously, 21-0.
Now that this epic is done, our next meeting date is tentatively scheduled for Monday, May 23rd. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's the end of my report.
Thank you, Supervisor Falkowski. Unfortunately, I don't think your epic is complete because I need an update on the Public Safety Committee.
Oh! That wasn't an epic. The only announcement I would ask is for the new members to check your emails for any announcements coming up for the month of May. We'll probably have an organizational meeting, so please pay attention to your emails. Thank you. That's my report.
Thank you, Supervisor Falkowski. Next, we have our Public Works Committee. Supervisor Giroux is the chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Public Works Committee met Wednesday, April 13th. We reviewed and discussed the Solid Waste and Recycling Division report given by John Reisenbeekler. And an interesting fact to note, we reviewed the prescription drug program collection. In 2021, we collected 7,000 pounds of prescription medicines in that, and those all get incinerated by the authorities, but that's drugs that don't get into our wastewater stream and out into Mother Nature. So we reviewed our annual self-certification program, and for Compost Awareness Week from May 2nd to the 7th, and we're giving a 50% off sale on compost for that. We reviewed and discussed the Building and Grounds Division report given by Craig Bright. We approved pay requests to Schaus Mechanical for the air conditioning at the courthouse. We reviewed the community development block grant funded projects that are going on. Those will be finishing up as the weather got nice enough to paint and do some of those things. We approved a pay request for the remodeling project at the courthouse to Greenwood Project Management. We also reviewed and discussed the Communications Division and the Information Systems Division. Jerry Noiser gave a report on what's going on out at the Expo Fair, and that concludes my report, Mr. Chair.
Thank you for the report. The Transportation Coordinating Committee, I don't believe they have met, so I would not expect a report. Is that true? All right. Then that brings us to miscellaneous. We have a joint resolution from Board of Health and Personnel Committee. Would that be Supervisor Metzger?
With the size of the county, that we needed a full-time sanitation person, and that's why we're doing this. So I so move.
Thank you, Supervisor Metzger. We have a motion and a second by Supervisor Menk. Any discussion? Seeing none, the clerk will conduct the vote.
Supervisors will now order the resolution authorizing the addition of 0.14 full-time equivalent health department employees and
Thank you. The motion carries unanimously, 21-0. Next, we have announcements. The Wisconsin Counties Association Annual Conference is September 18th through 20th. This year it's at the Kalahari Resort in Sauk County. I still have to get permission from my students to see if I will be able to attend during that time, but it looks like we'll be able to bring 3 or 4 supervisors to the conference. So if you are interested, we do need to get the rooms and registration booked soon. So if you could please let me know by Friday, April 29th. And if I see interest, then we will look to have 3 or 4 of us going to that. Mr. Metzger.
I was wondering, with the Wisconsin County Association, did the paperwork come in yet for the steering committees? Because I think that some of the steering committee people got to go to the convention because they are involved in.
I have not received any letter with the steering committees, and neither has the clerk. So
Okay.
I will look into that and keep an eye out for that
Okay.
information.
Thank you.
Thanks for the question. That completes our agenda. So I'd be looking for a motion to adjourn. Supervisor Giral, seconded by Supervisor Engelbrecht. Is that discussion? All right, we are adjourned.